Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to your football predictions. So this is the series where I put in my predictions for the weekend's football. You guys put in your predictions for the weekend's football, and we see who comes out on top. So we'll take a quick look at my predictions from last weekend. I thought Crystal Palace may get their first win of the season. They didn't. They lost 1-0. I was right to say Newcastle were going to win. I just didn't get the score right. I thought Chelsea would beat Arsenal, and they lost. They drew 0-0, and I was right to say that Man U would win, but I put 2-0, and it was actually 4-0. So yes, I didn't do great. 0 correct scores for me. Loads of you guys actually got correct scores this week, but only 3 people got 2 correct scores with 1 correct outcome. So those 3 people were Soccer King TV, Bagel Town, and Beast Gaming. So big up to these 3 guys. They got the most correct scores out of everyone, and they are this week's winners. So if you want to be shouted out in next week's video, make sure you go down to the comments and put in your predictions for this weekend's football. But as always, we will go through those games now. So the first game this weekend is West Ham versus Spurs. This is on Saturday at 12:30. So we know West Ham didn't have the greatest of starts to the season. They lost 3 games in a row, but they have gone on to beat Huddersfield and then draw with West Brom. So they are currently in 17th place with 4 points. Spurs, right? And I don't know if this Wembley curse stuff is a real thing, because they did actually beat Barnsley in the League Cup at Wembley the other night. But in the Premier League, they've had 2 away games. They've beaten Newcastle, unfortunately, and they beat Everton. And then at home, they've drawn with Burnley, drawn with Swansea, and lost to Chelsea. So they need to get that sorted out. But this game is at West Ham, and because of that reason, I am actually backing Spurs to go there and get the win. If it was at Wembley, maybe not, but I am going to go 2-0 Tottenham for this game. Next up is the Saturday, and this one's at 5:30. This one is Leicester versus Liverpool. So, if you didn't know, these 2 clubs actually played each other just the other night in the League Cup, and Leicester went on to win 2-0. So, can Leicester do that again this weekend, or will Liverpool get the win? Now, in the League Cup game, there was a lot of changes to both teams starting 11. So Leicester are currently in 15th. They haven't had the greatest of starts this season, but they've had to play Arsenal, Man U and Chelsea out of the 5 games, and they did lose against all 3 of them. So that is not an easy start for any team in the league. Liverpool, slightly up and down. They beat Arsenal 4-0, then lost to Man City 5-0. So yeah, work that one out. But I think there's going to be a lot of goals in this game, and I'm actually going to go for a draw. I'm going to go 2-2. Next up is the Sunday game, and this is the only game on Sunday. It's at 4 o'clock, and it is Brighton versus Newcastle. So I am actually going down to Brighton to watch the game. So if you want to check out my vlog, it should be up on Sunday night or sometime after the game anyway. So make sure you look out for that. We know Newcastle had... we lost our first 2 games of the season, and now we've gone on and won our next 3 games, and we're up to 4th, which I didn't think I would see Newcastle in that position at any point. I know it's early, but I didn't think I'd see us in that position at all, so I am very happy at the minute. Brighton are currently in 16th with 4 points. Not the greatest of starts to their season either. They lost against Bournemouth in the league 1-0, and then they actually lost against them again in the League Cup this week. So they've played them twice, lost twice. They are going to definitely want to be getting a win against Newcastle this weekend. Newcastle beat them twice last season in the Championship, and I am hoping we can go there and get our 4th straight win in a row. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game. I'm going to go 1-0 Newcastle. Newcastle have looked pretty good defensively, and if we can just nick that goal, yeah, I'm hoping for a 1-0 win. And the final game this week is Monday at 8 o'clock, and that is Arsenal versus West Brom. So, West Brom have actually having a decent start of this season. They're currently in 10th on 8 points. They haven't really played any of the big clubs yet, but you can only play what's in front of you. And yeah, they've got a few wins in the bag so far. Arsenal, a little bit up and down. They're in 12th. They're actually in a worse off position than West Brom are. They lost against Liverpool, as I mentioned, 4-0. Never great to lose by that many goals. But they did draw with Chelsea at the weekend, and I thought Chelsea would pick up the win in that game. So, yeah, decent draw. Although West Brom have been doing well, to go to Arsenal Monday night game and beat them would be a massive achievement. I wouldn't put it past them, I think they can do it, but for my prediction, I am actually going to go 2-1 Arsenal. They've still got Sanchez. They're playing him in every single game possible because they don't know how much longer they're going to have him for. Is he going to leave in January or at the end of the season? So it seems like Arsene Wenger's playing him every game. And he is a fantastic player. So I'm going to go Arsenal 2, West Brom 1. And that is it for this week's video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Drop a like if you are enjoying this series and subscribe if you are new. As I mentioned, comment your predictions down below. If you get the most correct scores, you will be shouted out in next week's video. And I do go through everyone's predictions before the first game kicks off. And that is at 12:30 on Saturday. So at around 12 o'clock, I will be going through and making a note of everyone's scores. So make sure you get your predictions in quick and don't miss the deadline. Alright? But I hope you have enjoyed this week's video. As I mentioned, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you later.